Well, hello, everyone, and happy Monday, and welcome to Unscripted. I'm Allie Baxter in for Maya Engel this week, and feeling a little bit under the weather today. And speaking of weather, I'm going to go ahead and bring in meteorologist Joe Charlevoix. We have got a lot of special guests for you here today on Unscripted, so I got to scroll to find Joe. Oh, look, here he is. Hey, Joe, how's it going?
I can't hear the control room. The battery died. It's dead.
Oh,
but
no.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So you can.
So I'm going to get this fixed.
Well, perfect. Well, hey, you know what?
What'd you think of the day today? Wasn't it nice, though?
It was. It was really nice today.
Yeah, beautiful day to start to the week, I should say. And you got out last night, and I know because I saw one of your pictures, saw the Northern Lights last night. Wasn't that pretty cool?
I did. It was so worth staying up late for. The original intent was to go out and see some of that meteor shower, but instead, the Northern Lights, that's what the star of the show was.
Yeah, it's crazy because, I think a lot of folks were looking for the meteor shower, and then the Northern Lights popped. We'll see what happens tonight. Skies should be clear. We'll have more on that in a little bit, Allie, and then also, nice now, but we might end the week kind of on a wet note. So we'll talk more about that a little later.
All right. Thank you, Joe. We will see you soon. All right, let's go ahead and talk about one of our top stories today. This is something our anchor Mark Shillette worked on. Now, Michigan is experiencing a natural disaster in sweet cherry production due to some of that unpredictable weather that we've had, including a lot of rain this summer. So Governor Whitmer sent in a letter requesting federal assistance. So our anchor Mark Shillette actually went out to a cherry orchard today to talk to some of those farmers about what assistance they are requesting. So we're going to go ahead and play Mark's package now.
Farm. Emily Mizio spent more time around cherry orchards than most. She knows well the joys and the heartbreak Mother Nature can deal to growers.
I was probably 7 or 8 and we hadn't gotten rain. We were worried. And then it's time to harvest the sweet cherries and we have a downpour of rain. And I remember sitting on our porch crying with my dad because we knew we were cracking sweet cherries with that rain.
Fast forward to this year and perhaps more porch tears for lots of northern Michigan's sweet cherry growers.
We had growers right here in Leelanau County that ended up not harvesting any of their dark sweet cherries.
It was a perfect storm of unfavorable conditions, a mild winter followed by a quick warm up, wind, and oh so much spring and early summer rain.
Definitely there was a loss, and depending on where the orchard is and just these microclimates across the area, some were better than others.
20% of the country's sweet cherries come from Michigan, but this year's dreadful weather for growing means anywhere from 30 to 75% of the crop was lost after months of costly pruning, mowing, applications, and H-2A labor contracts.
When you get into your orchard and you're unable to harvest anything from it, you already have all the input costs in there.
Governor Whitmer has submitted this letter to the U.S. Department of Agriculture explaining the conditions that Emily and growers in 9 counties experienced this season. In it, she describes the conditions that led to a, quote, natural disaster for sweet cherry production, end quote. If the USDA agrees and a disaster is declared, help for growers like low-interest loans may be available. State Representative Kofia urging the USDA to step up. In a statement saying, quote, I strongly urge the USDA to grant this relief to support them as they face their devastating and costly crop loss after months of round-the-clock work and expenses to try and save it, end quote.
I think for some growers, it will help. I think that we are hopeful that it will help get us through this year, and a grower always has hope. I think we have to live with hope and hope that next year will be better. I think that's how we stay in farming, is that hopefulness.
Yep, you're doing great.
And again, that was our anchor, Mark Shillette, reporting. I'm going to go ahead and transition now to our question of the day. This is our question of the day today. When traveling to Mackinac Island by ferry, do you prefer leaving from Mackinaw City or St. Ignace? Now, this is tied in with one of our top stories tonight that our reporter Daniel Zivian looked into. The Mackinac Island Ferry Company, or Starline, has halted services to St. Ignace indefinitely. So that is what inspired our question today. So 64% of you said that you prefer leaving from Mackinaw City. 36% said you prefer leaving from St. Ignace. Now, if you haven't voted yet, there is still time. You can go ahead and scan that QR code on your screen. I'm going to go ahead and read some of the comments here. So Claire is saying it's more of a matter of convenience, not preference. People live in the UP and vacation up there, so a ferry ride from both locations is necessary. I've taken the ferry from both locations, and I have to agree with Claire there as well. I have only ever taken the Mackinaw City ferry because I am coming from that side of the bridge. Neil said, my opinion is St. Ignace is less hectic. It's a shorter ride if that makes a difference. Aaron is saying, I learned St. Ignace is a quaint, special place, less crowded, and the ferry transport is quicker line-wise. Hotels are also better. A lot of people chiming in and saying they do prefer to use the St. Ignace ferry because it's more convenient, it's quieter, and things just move a lot quicker. Now, our reporter Daniel Zivian was working on this story today. I'm going to go ahead and play Daniel's package now.
Of a disaster right out of the box. All 4 engines were pulled. 3 engines will be replaced. They have 2 1271 General Motor Detroit diesels, which is 1952 technology. Parts are becoming hard to find, and it's certainly hard. They're hard to work on. So we're going to replace 3 of those engines.
And that's just the Radisson, which sits in the Marine Services dockyard with 5 other ships that have been pulled. Along with various maintenance issues were environmental problems. Starline was facing a lawsuit from Eagle over tank farms on both sides of the bridge, holding oil-contaminated water from ships' hulls.
In St. Ignace, there's 30 of those tubs sitting in a burned area that is has plastic in between the tubs and the ground. And the reason why Eagle has an issue with that, there's no containment happening there.
Meeting-goers expressed concern about employees, but Hoffman Marine President Jenny Gazella says all year-rounders from Starline will keep their jobs, and seasonal workers will be compensated.
And I'm going to go ahead now and bring in Daniel Zivian. I'm going to add him to our conversation here. Hey, Daniel, can you hear me? Oh my gosh, you have a beautiful view behind you there.
Yes, I can hear you, Allie. And yes, I'm at this lovely park here on the long coast of St. Ignace. And there's actually going to be some live music happening here at 7 o'clock. Beautiful night.
Gotcha. And so you said, are you in St. Ignace right now?
Yes, St. Ignace right now. You don't have a view of the boats. You do get the lighthouse, though. One of the many Mackinac Island Ferry Company docks is just over there, though. Shepler's and the ferry company, and now the one company, really, have docks all up and down the coast here.
Well, Daniel, before we start diving into some of your story that you worked on today, I'm going to bring up our question of the day again, because I'm pretty curious because you're someone who goes to Mackinac Island a lot for stories. So when traveling to Mackinac Island by ferry, do you prefer leaving from Mackinaw City or St. Ignace? What do you normally do?
That is a great question, Allie. I don't think I have a strong preference for either of them. What I do have a preference for is, oddly enough, I don't like taking the ferry and going under the bridge because I'm going to Mackinac Island for work. I want to get to the island as quick as possible. So one time they surprised me and went under the bridge, and I was the only person on the ferry not having a good time at that moment.
So you don't enjoy the scenic route. You prefer to get there pretty quickly.
Mackinac Island days are very difficult to work on. So yeah, it's just one of those times.
Well, hey, you're a pro, Danny. You do a really good job. And so tell me a little bit about the story you worked on today. This has really been at the top of everyone's minds. Of course, going to Mackinac Island right now, it is still pretty busy for tourist season. So to shut down one of those ports of transportation seems really difficult for people to be able to get on the island.
Absolutely. And this has been an ongoing saga. So the Hoffman family of companies, which is a billionaire in Florida named David Hoffman, and all the various things that he owns, they bought the Starline back in June, and they already owned Shepler's going back to 2022. So this gives them, I believe, the most real estate in the Straits area, which is pretty wild. So they looked at the company. It has been confirmed to us by Hoffman that Mackinac Island Ferry Company CEO Jerry Betty left the company, and Chris Shepler, who has been president of Shepler's even as the company was sold, Chris Shepler right now oversees both companies. I haven't heard for sure. I'm guessing it's a transition thing to get another CEO in place at Starline eventually. But right now, Chris Shepler was the voice you heard in that package. He's handling everything right now. And they looked at all these boats. All of these Starline boats coming out of St. Ignace are from the fast boat fleet. and they all have maintenance problems. Apparently, a lot of them manifesting since the previous annual inspection by the Coast Guard, which, as Chris Shepler would say, would speak to some pretty poor maintenance records, or not records, just pretty poor maintenance under the previous administration of the Mackinac Island Ferry Company. So they've pulled the trigger. They've pulled them all out of St. Ignace. And not only that, they want to suspend service starting, I believe the proposed start date is next Monday, August 19th. They want to suspend everything, including in Mackinaw City, essentially to get their ducks in a row and to start the smooth transition of both of these companies being owned by the same conglomerate.
So, Daniel, what are they waiting for in terms of just why haven't they just stopped the service right now?
That's a great question. While they were able to pull all of those boats out of St. Ignace unilaterally, in order to completely suspend the schedule, they need approval from the island. One thing that a lot of people don't realize and has come up in all of these discussions about Hoffman, since people were concerned about prices and everything. One thing that's interesting is that Mackinac Island, the city council, has... It's a good night for bikers out here in St. Ignace, if you couldn't hear.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, Mackinac Island has sole authority over scheduling changes that are that major and pricing. So part of the reason this special city council meeting was happening today was so Chris Shepler could present the case of the Starline, say, hey, we need to suspend services now permanently. It's a drastic move. This is why we want to do it. This is what we want to set up for next season. And there's actually going to be another meeting this Wednesday at 1:00 p.m. where the city council will very likely vote on a decision whether to allow this to go through next week.
Well, Daniel, you've been following this story since last week. Have we heard from anyone who kind of frequently uses that ferry system and what their opinion is on the situation?
I haven't personally talked to anyone along those lines. I was able to cover this at the last minute on Friday, so I'm just really getting my feet wet with this. Maybe we'll hear some more stuff on Wednesday. What I do know is that, there's the tourists, there's the workers, and there's also the residents. One concern that came up in today's meeting that Shepler said would be addressed Wednesday was the matter of parking. Starline has for years and years been the winter service. Shepler's wasn't running in the winter. It was Starline. Now that's going to change. And all the people living on Mackinac Island, a lot of them have cars. They leave them here in St. Ignace, usually for free, courtesy of the Starline. But according to one of the council members who spoke up about this, Shepler's has, I believe it's like a $20 fee for that sort of parking situation. And the council wants assurances from Shepler's that the island residents can get the same treatment that they're accustomed to as things move forward in what is basically not unprecedented. It's been a very long time since there's been a change on this front.
Well, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Unscripted. We're going to go ahead and let you go now. And I'm going to go ahead and put up our question of the day during our commercial break. And again, that is, when traveling to Mackinac Island by ferry, do you prefer leaving from Mackinaw City or St. Ignace? So for those of you who are joining us virtually, we'll throw the question of the day up and you can chime into the conversation. Joe has some weather for you coming up. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. All right, welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. It seems that Joe is having some technical difficulties, so we are going to let our engineers, the masters at work here, they are going to figure that out. So while they are doing that, we are going to go back and read some more comments for our question of the day. I can see Joe's camera's working a little bit, maybe. Someone's trying to work their magic over there. We'll see if we can get Sports Director Harrison Beebe maybe in a little bit early for us as well. Let's see here, pulling back up some comments from our question of the day. Oh, Joe's coming in here. Oh, this is such a treat. Joe, let's do this together.
Well, we've got some issues in the weather center. See, it says device not connected.
I see.
We've got Jeff, our engineer, in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when your webcam just completely glitches and goes down. That's what happened.
And that's not fun, is it?
No.
Well,
so I wanted to give you in person what's going on.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Well, Joe, did you want to give a weather spiel for us?
Okay, real quick. I wish I could show the graphics. It's going to be really nice next few days.
Okay, well, I'll take this full screen.
Wednesday will be the warmest day of the week. Can you?
Yeah, here.
No. We're good. Wednesday will be the warmest day of the week, mid 80s. And then we are going to cool down. If you're wondering about rain, Thursday is going to be the next chance for some rain, late Thursday. And then we are looking at some rain on Friday and Saturday and maybe Sunday.
Okay, so definitely mark those days in your calendar. Bring an umbrella. We've got a little bit going on here. It looks like Jeff maybe was able to bring up your graphics for us. I took that picture.
It's really weird. I'll just say what it is. We have a weather camera on the computer, like normal.
That's right. Just like how we have here, webcam.
Yes. And for whatever reason, like it'll work at the beginning of the show, and then like in the middle, like between, it'll start glitching. And Jeff is trying every day. We try to figure out what it is, but
But that's the beauty of unscripted, right?
That's right. But it does look nice, though. Allie.
We're having so much fun today.
Maya's on Mackinac Island today. It does look pretty nice, though, for the first few days of the week, and then later in the week, some rain. Friday, pretty wet, I think.
Okay.
Saturday.
No outdoor plans on Friday.
Probably not. And then Saturday, chance for some showers off and on rain to start the weekend, too. Especially those weekend days in August. They're so nice to try and get out and do things. So just know that there might be a little bit of rain then.
Because we know that cold weather is going to be coming pretty soon. So I feel like whenever I see a sunny and a warm day in August, I'm like, is this the last one? I don't know. Get a little worried.
Well, we'll see. I think we got some warm weather still in the works, but it is going to cool down a little bit late week. Anyway, I just want to come in, say hi, and do all that. Say hi
on this side of things, of course. See ya, Joe. I'm going to go ahead and take down what we were able to get of some of Joe's graphics here. And I am going to go ahead, pull back up our question of the day. We're going to go back to a commercial break. And when we come back, looks like we'll give Sports Director Harrison Beebe a little extra time today. But you're watching Up North Live Unscripted. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. We are going to have a little extra time with our sports director, Harrison Beebe, today. I'm going to go ahead and bring Harrison in now. Harrison, thanks for joining us as you do every single day.
I try to, yeah. It's going to be interesting this week with the return of a certain sport that everybody loves here in Northern Michigan, but we'll do our best to check in with you every chance we get.
That's
You
right.
know what
You
sport
are
I'm
out and
talking
about
about.
again.
You want to take a guess what sport I'm talking about? It is not badminton.
Not badminton. No. Not badminton.
It's not
It's football.
bowling. It is football. Do you like football, Ellie?
I like the football that you cover, Harrison.
That's a good answer. Yeah, camps are underway. The MHSA allows teams to officially start practicing for the upcoming season. That's not just football. That's all the fall sports teams. So we've got volleyball, boys soccer, cross country. You know, a lot of sports are really ramping up to start their seasons in a few weeks as far as competition is concerned. But today is the day that the MHSA allows them all to start officially practicing together. There's always kind of some restrictions on how much time a team with coaching assistants can spend, especially in the off season. But today now officially starts the practice format of those seasons. So that's a big day for a lot of teams to get together and start work on what they hope will be a good year. And one of the teams that we know considers themselves a staple for football, and for good reason why. That's Traverse City St. Francis. The Glads were back to work at Thurlby Field today, and they're coming off a bit of a down year for them. It was an interesting statistic that head coach Josh Sellers told me at practice today. Is like it's about once every 10 years they finish a season below 500. That's how caliber of a program this is, and that unfortunately for them was last year. They were in 4-5, still made the playoffs, but fell short in the first round of Charlevoix. So a year that St. Francis is unfamiliar with. You know, in a lot of ways, that might be a good year for some teams, depending on where they're at the season before. But St. Francis does not like being below 500, and anybody who knows that name knows they're synonymous with success in high school football across the state. So they're motivated to get guys back up and going for this year. All upperclassmen on this roster. Usually they have a couple sophomores on there, but nope, this year is loaded with all juniors and seniors as they get set to start the season against that same Charlevoix team that'll be at home on August 30th. So a new season is underway. We're going to hit up a lot of camps here in the next few weeks to get ready for kickoff 2 weeks from Thursday for actual games to take place. And yeah, Allie, it's always weird for me. This day kind of feels like the unofficial end of summer. We're not at fall yet, but we're kind of wrapping up summer knowing that the football teams are back to work.
Well, Harrison, you and I have a little less than a minute left together, but I have to know, when you're going to all these practices right before the season officially starts, is that when you kind of look at things and say, okay, I think this team is going to be a top contender this year?
Yeah, between, viewing the guys on the field and then hearing from the coaches who they're bringing back and kind of where their optimism level's at. I mean, obviously it's tough to gauge success for all these teams year in and year out. They're not analyzed as much as NFL teams are going into an off season, especially with these being young guys. They're high school kids, so they're going to mature at different levels. But usually, yeah, when we're in person scouting, it kind of gives us an opportunity to gauge, at least for the teams we think might be good, how good they're really going to be. And that's, for comparison's sake, Kingsley won the state championship a year ago, and unfortunately they did not make our preseason camp visit a year ago, and I regret that now, knowing how good of a roster they have. But that's, sometimes you might overlook a school just on circumstance, and they turn out to have a really good year. So that's one of my favorite parts of starting a new year, is to see what teams are out to surprise us and show they got the real stuff built up for a good run.
All right. Well, thank you, Harrison. Thank you for that preview. I'm going to throw up our question of the day one more time. We'll check back in with it when we come back. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted. Here's one more chance to answer our question of the day. 63% of you say you take the ferry to Mackinac Island from Mackinaw City. 37% say it's from St. Ignace. All right, we'll see you back here tonight at 11.